Is the MCU back? Let's talk about that. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is Leo's Nerd Talk, and today we are talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. So let's get into that. Hi, my name is Leo, and as I talk about movies, TV shows, video game related, or just anything nerdy, you have come to the right place. And like I said, today we are talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. So without further ado, let's get into the review. Well, the time has finally come. Last night, I was lucky enough to go watch Deadpool and Wolverine on opening night. Crowded theater, such a fun experience, such a fun time. But the obvious questions are, is this the return of the MCU? Is this return of Disney? Is this return of Marvel superhero movies? What is my thoughts on that? What is everybody's thoughts on that? Is this movie good? Did it bomb? We're going to talk all about that right now in this review. But before I give you my thoughts about Deadpool and Wolverine, let me know your thoughts about this movie in the comment section down below. Let me share your excitement level from this movie. Did you guys already see it? Are you guys going to see it? Are you guys going to buy the many popcorn buckets that this movie was advertising throughout this entire time? Let me know in the comment section down below. Love to hear our guys' thoughts. Now, this would be the time in our review where we would go over the movie's popcorn bucket and do a quick little review on the popcorn bucket. However, as you can probably tell from being all around me, there is quite a few popcorn buckets that were released, and I went to as many of the places that were selling these popcorn buckets, and I want to go ahead and make a separate video. So take a look out for that tomorrow. That video should be out tomorrow about the video about all the popcorn buckets, and of course the special one, which I don't think you can see in this frame, but the special one that we all know about. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into my pros about Deadpool and Wolverine. And starting my pros, this is again just another example of Deadpool being Deadpool. You have Ryan Reynolds playing this character like no one else, and you have Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine, which is an absolute blast, which I'll get a little more into in detail about Hugh Jackman. But just starting off with the movie, I think this movie has the best opening sequence out of all three of the Deadpool films. You know, there's obviously going to be talk, does this movie ruin Logan's legacy? Does it ruin the movie Logan? Does it ruin any of that timeline and continuity and all that stuff? That, of course, is going to be ultimately up to you as a viewer. For me, I don't think so. The opening sequence, there's going to be people that are very mixed on it, people that love it, people that hate it. For me, I absolutely love that. I thought it was such a fun opening sequence, such a badass opening sequence. Like I said, it's the best one, I think, out of the three movies. And the original Deadpool opening sequence is one of my favorite opening moments of all movies of all time. I think it's probably for sure like top 10 opening sequences for me. But this one for sure beats that by a landslide. And I don't think, in my opinion, this movie, jeopardizes or ruins everybody's, love for Logan, love for that movie Logan and his legacy and, that continuity. In my opinion, I don't think this ruins anything at all. If anything, I personally think this enhances it. And I think it just did a great job exploring that stuff with Wolverine and Deadpool and that relationship, and also kind of different timelines and continuities. Of course, from the trailers, we can definitely tell there's going to be a lot of different timelines and multiverse stuff that's going to happen here. And, I don't think it ruins, again, Logan as a superhero, as a movie, as a legacy, as that continuity. I don't think it ruins it at all, in my opinion. I absolutely love the balls that this movie has. Of course, the past two movies always had balls because Deadpool is just one of those characters that is just constantly joking over everything, always breaking the fourth wall. And the fourth wall breaking here, I think, is the best out of the three as well. But just also the fourth wall breaking jokes, taking so many stabs at, Fox, taking so many stabs at Disney itself, of the MCU itself. All those jokes just completely landed for me. There were still some that were a little dry and didn't fully land, but for the most part, a lot of those jokes about like Disney and Fox and different continuities about Wolverine and Deadpool and all these different superheroes that were kind of lost in translation, kind of forgotten about, all those fourth wall breaking jokes and just those jokes within the movie as well, I think did a very great job. I thought this movie was absolutely hilarious. One of the funnier movies we've gotten in a very, very long time. The theater was very lively as well, so there was a lot of people just absolutely busting up laughing. So I absolutely think this movie hit the mark when it comes to the comedy, and especially with that fourth wall breaking. It just comes in with some balls, and I absolutely love that. Action sequences I think are amazing. Again, best for me, especially when we start getting into the whole Wolverine kind of timelines and, you know, figuring out where Hugh Jackman is coming from, and you get that first initial battle between Wolverine and Deadpool. That was absolutely amazing. I was just like holding my seat like, let's fucking go. That shit was so awesome. And then we get a separate battle between them two later on in the film that I thought was even better. I thought that was just so awesome and hilarious in that second battle. This first one was a lot more just awesome in general. Besides that, also just battle sequences between the TVA and other superheroes and all that kind of stuff, and villains and everything. I think just choreography wise, action wise, shot choice, visuals and special effects, I think were done very, very well, and it was just for a dazzling, awesome movie. And like I said, I don't think this, you know, damages Logan at all, and I love what Hugh Jackman did in this movie. I love his character growth, his realization of, you know, his purpose within this timeline, within his own timeline, within his life, I think is amazing. Obviously seeing the comic book accurate Wolverine suit was absolutely awesome. When we finally get that hood pull over and you get that, you know, accurate comic book, you know, Wolverine mask on Hugh Jackman, that looked absolutely amazing. That was such a awesome hype moment. But again, just the character itself, I think Hugh Jackman did an amazing job again playing Wolverine. He's always has done that amazing job. There's no one else that, you know, in this world we really think could play Wolverine, just like how there's really no one I think can play Deadpool besides Ryan Reynolds. But I think Hugh Jackman had a very, very amazing character growth. Similar with Ryan Reynolds with Deadpool. I think both of them had a very good character growth, a very good character arc, and their kind of bromance throughout this entire film was so much fun to watch on screen. It made for a lot of comedic relief. It made for a lot of emotional moments, for a lot of badass moments. So I think partnering these two together for this third Deadpool movie was the absolute correct choice. And everybody in their mamas was speculating who was going to be in this movie, which superhero, which continuity, which universe are we going to be jumping into. And I'm happy to say that we didn't jump into a lot of different universes and ruined different timelines and stuff. A lot of the multiverse jumping was very brief, very quick, and I really enjoyed that because they were going for a specific purpose. When they didn't find that thing that they needed, they went to the next one, but it wasn't to change timelines or anything like that, which I absolutely enjoyed. But I do love all the cameos that we got, all the different versions of, you know, certain characters and, you know, forgotten old comic book MCU characters that I absolutely love. Like there's a sequence when they're in the void and we get this, you know, these three characters entering this little like underground cave. And there's one character in particular that absolutely had me through the roof. I was so hyped to see them. It made me so excited for his upcoming movie. That hopefully we'll get here pretty soon. You know, there's been speculations about anything like that. Obviously, I don't want to give any spoilers of who this is, but you can probably piece what I'm trying to say just by saying his upcoming movie. But I was so hyped when I saw his character. He was so awesome in this movie as well. It had such great action sequences. But for the most part, all the cameos were just awesome. You know, like there was nothing that was, again, like it didn't ruin any timelines. It wasn't messing with any continuities or different multiverse stuff. It was, the cameos were there for a lot of fun and awesome purposes. It wasn't for meaningful purposes, in my opinion, at least. That's kind of how I saw it. But it just still kind of made it for a very fun, awesome experience. And we all saw in the trailer that Experiment 22, 23, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but from Logan, the little girl that he saves, we all saw in the trailer that she's coming back within this movie. I wish that was a little bit more of a surprise and they didn't spoil that in the movie. That would have been awesome, because the way they set it up in the film, it's meant to be a surprise, but we all knew that she was going to be in there anyways. But regardless of that, I love her interaction with Hugh Jackman and this Wolverine timeline. I think their interaction was very heartfelt, very heartwarming. It definitely gave a lot of purpose to this current Wolverine that we have here. So I absolutely love what they did with that character. Again, just they don't ruin anything. Even though Deadpool in the beginning makes a little joke that he doesn't give a fuck about Logan's legacy. That's literally like words that comes out of his mouth. I don't think they do that. I don't think they really mess with anything, and I don't think they mess with any legacies. Like I said, I think this movie does a very good job of bringing a lot of emotions and making it into a satisfying story where it gives Wolverine purpose. It gives these other characters that have been forgotten about some sort of purpose, and it just makes for that enjoyable thing where it doesn't ruin anything. I think it elevates a lot of different timelines and stories. And I do think the story for the most part was really good. It was very easily digestible, very easy to comprehend, and that also has to do with the directing and the pacing and the editing. The pacing was very, very good, where, you know, I was sitting there thinking this movie was taking quite a bit of time, and when you look at your phone very quick, you know, you're not trying to, you know, not trying to distract anybody in the movie theaters. There's about 20 minutes left, so the pacing was actually very quick. It's always on the move, always on the go, which I thoroughly enjoyed. But again, just the story itself, I think, was very satisfying, very fun to watch. It was a good conclusion, and I think it felt like a very solid trilogy within these three movies between Deadpool, Deadpool 2, and Deadpool and Wolverine. So it definitely has like that very solid, concise continuity and storyline that fits across the board all the way. There's a solid through line for sure. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into my cons. And I have a couple of things, nothing too crazy. Our main villain, I don't think that our main villain is as impactful in my opinion. They're obviously, there's a center device that is so crucial to the story that it could absolutely ruin everything, and just that device being there is what makes everything like such a high stake. But we have the TVA, and there's people that are kind of in a very secret department that the main boss of the TVA don't really know about. And I don't think what's his name, Paradox, I don't think Paradox from the TVA was that menacing, that, you know, enticing of a villain. And then we have Professor X's sister in the Void that we've seen in the trailers as well. I don't think her as a villain either was that villainous and that intimidating to our characters here. So villain wise, I don't think they were as strong as they could have been. I think just kind of the clock, you know, the clock of having to do this task before a certain time was what made this movie so much more intense and so much more you know, nerve-wracking, but beyond just the regular main two villains that we have. It was just a specific time frame that we had is what made this movie feel so fast-paced and what made this movie feel so impactful by the end of it. And lastly, there was a article that said if Infinity War was a 10 out of 10 when it comes to multiverse importance, Deadpool and Wolverine is at 8 out of 10. And I don't fully agree with that. I do think that there, like I said, that device that's in there 100% would make that an 8 out of 10 or even beyond that. But overall, the entire movie, the entire story, the way it's structured, it feels more like a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 importance to the multiverse. Like I said, because they don't really change too much. They don't jump around and start messing with different timelines and continuities and stuff like that. So the movie's importance to the multiverse didn't feel that impactful. It felt more impactful to Hugh Jackman's Wolverine storyline and Deadpool's storyline versus the entire multiverse as a whole. But with that being said, let me know what you guys think about Deadpool and Wolverine. I absolutely love this movie. There's people that are giving it hate, and I can understand why some people might be giving it hate. I thought it was such a fun time, such an incredible movie. I think this is probably the best one out of the three, in my opinion. I can definitely see myself rewatching this over and over and over again. I had such a blast with this movie. I've seen all three of these Deadpool movies in theaters, and this is the one I definitely had the most fun with. So let me know what you guys thought about Deadpool and Wolverine in the comment section down below. I love to hear all you guys' thoughts. And again, if you guys like talking about movies, TV shows, or video game related, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I'll see you guys on the next review. Thank you.